What is going on, guys? Welcome to the first video of 2025. I hope you guys are excited like I am. I think this is going to be an amazing year for all of us. So in today's video, we're going to be doing a Q&A. If you don't follow me on Instagram, you should. Make sure to follow George Vroman, and also make sure to follow the gym page right here as well too. So I asked you guys on my stories to leave me some questions, and we're going to be answering them in this video. So without further ado, let's make it happen. First question: how did you come up with the capital to open Roman Empire? So Roman Empire was funded by Roman Iron Gym, which was my previous gym. It had been open for 3 years prior to this one, coming to life. And prior to that, it took me about 2.5 years to come up with the capital to open up my first ever gym, Roman Iron Gym. And the reason why it took so long is because I didn't get any loans. I didn't get money from anyone. All the money that I was making, I was just going out buying gym equipment, putting it in a storage unit, and that's what I did for 2.5 years. Now, obviously, equipment was a lot cheaper back then. Right now, even used equipment is ridiculously expensive. So we're talking about, way different times. I do think it was definitely a lot easier to do it then than it is now, just because of how expensive gym equipment is. My total investment was $187,000 to open up my first gym, and that is, first month's rent included. That is the deposit, that is the dumbbells, the mirrors, like everything that it took to open up the first location. It was a total of $187,000. As far as equipment goes, I would say it was maybe a little over like $120,000 on the equipment side. But like I said, it took me 2.5 years to come up with the money. And I did a lot of things. I mean, I was working a 9 to 5. I was selling used cars. I was selling gym equipment as well too. And I was able to generate that amount of money during that 2.5 year period. And I think it's very doable. Like even now, right? You don't need to go crazy on a gym if your goal is to open up a gym. You can literally start small and work your way up. My last building was 8,000 square feet, but 6,000 square feet of actual gym space. This one right now is 27,000 square feet, so it's pretty massive. Hopefully that answers your question. How do you prioritize customer feedback in your business decisions? Customer feedback is obviously very important, and I think that you as a business owner should always ask your customers how you can improve your business, right? Now, one of the things that you gotta ask yourself whenever people do give you feedback, is it within your budget? Because sometimes people might want things or are very expensive, right? I'll give you an example. For the longest time, people have been requesting a cold plunge, and it's not the financial side of things that why we ended up not doing it. It's because I just don't have the space for it, right? That's also another thing. Do you have the space to make this happen? So do you have the money and do you have the space? And if you do, I mean, obviously making your product better for your members should be your number one priority, right? Or for your customers, whatever business you're in. So customer feedback, very important. Now there is, some people might request some crazy things because it's happened to me before, right? There's nothing wrong with it. I think that you should be expecting, some people's requests might be a little bit off, especially like if you look at it from my perspective. There's things that people want, like for example, they want like an outdoor gym area as well too. It's not me personally. I don't want an outdoor gym area because it's a lot of maintenance. It's more things that we have to take care of. It's my staff has to take care of that area. So the expansion of an outdoor area financially just doesn't make sense. So that's why I'm not doing it, right? But of course, a lot of people are requesting that. A lot of people are requesting cold plunges, but the building doesn't allow it, and the other one just financially doesn't make sense. So you can't police everybody, and as long as you're improving little by little, you don't have to spend thousands of dollars every single month. It could be something very, very simple, like adding a brand new bar, $300, $400, or just something maybe not even money related, just improving your customer service, just improving your systems. That could solve a lot of those things. So again, customer feedback, very important. A different kind of question: are you looking into expanding your team? Yes, we are. So if you're watching this video and you want to be part of our team, we're always looking for new talent. So all you got to do is go to RomanEmpireGym@gmail.com, send us your resume, And more than likely, you will get a call from us, especially if you have a great resume. Whenever we do the in-person interviews, if your personality aligns with what we are looking for, then yes, we are always looking into expanding our team. Doing first gym. Do you lease warehouse space far away or high traffic commercial space? So I think that they both have their challenges, right? So if you do something kind of like outside of the city, and not a very high traffic area, you have to get really good at marketing. You're gonna have to make a lot of content to make sure that people can see and know that you're there. If you are in a commercial space, with a higher traffic area, then your overhead is going to be, ginormous, because a building like that is going to cost more money. So it just comes down to you. I mean, do you have a good social media following? Do you know people that you can bring in there, really fast, so that way you can blow up, the place faster? And if you don't, then, spending the extra money on a building that's maybe closer to the city in a high traffic area, that would be the best way to go. It also depends on your budget. Can you afford a building like that? And if you can, then yeah, go for it. Best way to start a business financially: credit, safe money, or investors' money. I'm gonna talk out of experience, just because I've never taken out a loan. Don't have any investors, so I don't know what that's like, but I've heard, and I try to stay away from that as much as possible. Everything that we've done has been bootstrapped. All the money has been, just me. Everything has been funded by me. I've never taken out a loan. I don't have any investors, like I said. So everything is me. And I like that a lot better. I feel like I can move a lot faster. When you bring investors, now you have to ask permission to do things, as opposed to just being by yourself. You do whatever you want. You move as fast as you want. And just not having somebody over your shoulder, making sure that you're doing things how you're supposed to be doing or whatever. I like that. I like the freedom of that. And as far as taking out a loan, I've always been against them, just because there's nothing wrong with them. I think that eventually, whenever I do want to build a big project, I would take that route. But for now, I mean, the gym that I currently have is it's big, but it's not like ridiculously big to where I can't manage, on my own cash. Even when we expanded into this building from my previous facility, it was doable. It wasn't that hard. Obviously, it took some time and it did take some money, but I was already making money at my previous gym. And while that gym was open, I was working on this project here. So I would just suggest using your own personal savings. That would be my best advice. Next question: how do you stay motivated? That's a tough one. I don't. So it's very, very hard to stay motivated all the time. And I think that even athletes, have this problem. As long as you keep showing up, as long as you stay consistent, you guys probably hear this a lot, and I mean, that's because it's true. It's very easy to lose motivation. As long as you stay consistent, as long as you stay committed, and as long as you keep showing up, you'll be fine. There's going to be those days. There's going to be even months. I mean, me personally, I've gone months without feeling it, but I was still showing up, right? And if you feel unmotivated, don't let your staff members know that you're not feeling motivated, right? Because if you own a business and you have employees, you are the head of everything. So you got to make sure that you're always standing tall, regardless of how you're feeling, regardless of what's going on outside of your business, in the real world. And I think it's just part of it, There's no such thing as balance. I think that you'll get better over time. A lot of people say, balance is everything, but I disagree with that. And I think that balance is what makes most gyms fail. A lot of people try to have a social life, or they try to spend, quality time with family members, spouses, or siblings, whatever it might be, kids. And I think that although that's important, if you're trying to move fast in the business space, you're gonna have to be selfish with your time. And that's literally what you're gonna have to focus on for years, if you want to actually grow and if you actually want your business to be successful. Those are just my thoughts. That's what I've done, and it's worked for me. For the past 6 years, I took a whole year off. For the past 6 years, it was just like focusing, I was in here early, I would leave really late. Sometimes I would pull 36-hour days. Like I was always here, busy, present, just trying to figure out what else I could improve on. And I feel like That's one of the things that you always have to keep in the back of your head. You're not perfect. Your business is not perfect. It has flaws. It has a bunch of holes, and you need to fix those. And you got to fix them fast if you want to move fast, right? So, yeah, I don't think there's such thing as balance, and I don't think you can stay motivated all the time. Very easy to lose both. That's just my opinion. How many members did your first gym start out with and grow from month 1 to month 12? I don't have an exact number in the back of my head of how many members we actually had on our first year, but I do remember that we were 3 months in and we were already at 300 members. And I know that when we closed that gym 3 years later, we were at 800 members, but that was due to COVID. So actually COVID shut down a few of the gyms in the area, and we had a huge flow of people that came in because there was no gyms around the area. So although it sucked because we were closed for almost 2 months, when we opened back up, I mean, it flooded with customers. And honestly, that's what allowed this expansion to even, happen. We had such a huge flow of people, a lot of money, of course, that literally funded that the last part of 2020 funded this whole building after we opened. And it was crazy. And I think that if that hadn't happened, we probably wouldn't be here, which is kind of scary to say. But yeah, that was pretty much our situation. So as far as how many members I actually had in my first year, I don't remember, to be honest with you. But I know that 3 months in, we were already at 300. 3 years later, we were already at 800. So if I had to take a guess, I'm pretty sure we were already at like 400. Just maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. If you had to start all over again, would you get a loan for the gym equipment or would you buy cash? Same thing, my previous question, my previous answer, I would do cash. I wouldn't take out a loan. I would always do cash. I mean, I'm still doing cash right now, and we actually have pretty strong income. So yeah, I just don't see that being necessary right now. Hey George, love your gym, man. How much money did you put down to start it up? This goes back to the first question. I spent a total of $187,000 to start my first gym. And how do you create excitement in a loyal customer base before grand opening? So I think that one of the things that I would have changed back then is I would have loved to have taken people through my journey, right? Even if it didn't get a lot of views or whatever, but just have proof of like, this is how I started and this is what I was doing, 9 years ago to make this happen. Because I feel like a lot of people didn't get to see all of that, right? So that creates like a sense of disbelief that a person at 23 could have done what I had done, which, there's plenty of people that have done more, but that's just my experience, right? 23, nobody really knew who I was. I didn't record the process of me opening up my first gym. And I feel like that's one of the things that you should do if you're thinking about starting any business. You should show the process and kind of like bring everybody along, with you. I think that's how you start kind of like reaching people, right? People like to feel like they're part of something. And I feel like being part of something like that would, be very beneficial long-term for your business. As far as creating like a loyalty, I feel like they have to see the product. They have to see the business, right? I don't think they're going to be loyal to something they've never experienced before. So I think that showing them everything and then on your end, making sure that what you're building is good and it's, high quality. Like if it's a gym, make sure that you bring in high quality equipment. Make sure that you have, great customer service. So whenever customers come in, they have a great experience, right? I think long-term, that's what creates a good, customer loyalty over time. But I don't think you can make that happen before you even open. So I would focus on recording everything, document everything, put everything out there, make people follow the journey with you. And then when you open, make sure that you're delivering a good product. What trends or changes do you see shaping your industry in the next 5 years? That's a good question. So the more and more that I see what's kind of like going on in the gym space, I feel like every gym is going bigger and bigger. Now the problem that I see with that is that you're losing the sense of community, right? Which is kind of like what started all this like small gyms. You know, people got tired of the commercial gyms because there was no sense of belonging. Nobody really cared for the customer. There was no community. So I think that all of those things are going out the window, man. So I think that everybody's trying to go bigger and bigger. The need for like small warehouse gyms, kind of like what we used to see, you know, 5, 6 years ago, like my previous gym, there's going to be a huge need for those gyms. I really do believe that. And I feel like although like gyms right now are getting, you know, they're looking very impressive. They have a lot of equipment. They look great. Social media seems like they're doing really, really good. I feel like the community aspect of things is just not there. So I believe that there's going to be a huge need for small little warehouse gyms or just small gyms in general that focus on community, that focus on, you know, valuing the customer. And I think that in 5 years, everybody's going to keep going bigger and bigger. Everybody will start going smaller and smaller again. That's just what I think, and that's kind of like what I see that's been happening. Because even here, it's not a ginormous gym. It's hard to keep the community, you know, tight. It's hard to, you know, memorize everyone's names. It's hard to recognize everyone's face, and I think, yeah, I just think it's not gonna last, you know, forever. I think that smaller gyms will come back around, and I think those are the ones that are gonna be profiting a lot eventually. Also, like, you have to think about whenever you build like a big facility, overhead is crazy. So for you to even become profitable, you know, in a ginormous building, it's very hard because you have to pay building, you know, just the building cost alone is going to cost you tens of thousands of dollars, as opposed to starting in a smaller location, you know? I was actually having a conversation with a guy that was thinking about opening up his gym, and he felt like, he felt discouraged because, you know, he's been seeing that all these new gyms are popping up and they're ginormous. And what he doesn't understand is that that's good for them, but whenever you have like a small building or you know, a small business, or, you know, your overhead is low, you don't need a lot of people to make money. If you can convince 200-300 people to go into your business, you're good. You know, a bigger facility, they have to convince thousands of people to join their, you know, to join their gym. If you're small, I mean, you don't have to worry about that because all you need is just a few hundred people to say yes. And that's not that hard to do, you know? In 5 years, gyms are gonna be huge. They're gonna keep getting bigger and bigger. There's gonna be a huge need for small gyms that focus on community. I think that's where I would put my money on this side, because this side is just ridiculously expensive and it's very hard to profit off of without, you know, raising money or without taking out huge loans to, you know, keep up with the growth or, you know, build ginormous facilities. So I think this side right here, there's gonna be a big need for that. So yeah, that's just what I think. That is it, guys. That's gonna conclude the Q&A. We're gonna be doing another one very, very soon. Hopefully that was informative. Again, I am super excited for this year. We are gonna be expanding into our second location, and I'm super excited to take you guys along with me through that journey, and I think it's gonna be really, really fun. I'm super excited, really, really excited, and I hope you guys are as well. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, comment, let me know what else you guys want to see, what other content you guys want to see, and it'll make it happen. Till next time, peace.